the people of Dowenya and Pram and other areas say they will hit the streets on the 12th of this month because they're tired of the traffic and the abandoned projects. There are about 3 or 4 runabouts that have been left undone, and the nature of the runabouts make traffic even worse. So essentially makes a bad situation worse. So a few of the residents have said they will hit the streets on the 12th to register their disgust over the situation.
That's how we can build our country. If you find something unacceptable to you, the law allows you as a citizen to voice your concerns beyond doing something about it in your own little way. These people, as I understand it, there have been times that they could put money together to fill some of the potholes themselves with what do you call it? Earth they had gone to buy. The situation keeps getting bad. They have raised these issues on our platform repeatedly, but for some reason the Ministry of Roads is not dealing with their concerns. If it would take some form of protest to get the attention of the ministry directed at the situation there,
so
that is
100%.
I'm in full support of the demonstration.
You know, I don't even know which route to use when I'm going to the Volta region again.
It's crazy.
I think now somebody was telling me that there's now a route through Ebri or something. So apparently you climb the hill and then you go through what do you call it, latte or something, and then you descend
Where are you
and
going
come through so much. So funny, you know, because when you are going, imagine you have a funeral on Saturday in Ho.
Charlie, it's crazy.
If you use Tema to what do you call it, Dowenya, you will just sit in traffic for so long before you get to Ada. If you want to use Akosombo to do the same thing. So now they say you use the Bri road because the Dodowa road is bad. The Dodowa road is they are now doing it. So they say now you use the Bri road. When you climb the hill before you get to Omani's place, then you descend to Somanya.
Okay.
And then you connect to Odumase and you go to Pong before you go to your hometown. I believe you are going to apply there. It's a long. You have to use a boat. Just take a boat. Take a boat from Osu, and then tell the boat rider that you are going to apply.
Straight up.
You probably reach earlier because there's nothing on helicopter. But the other thing, you know, I feel like the people of Volta region also need to be questioned around the whole airport, because Sky. So okay. Let me make it nice. An airport has been built.
Yes.
And there isn't enough passenger demand
At some point,
for the airport to be viable.
only one person was on the plane.
I would have said if they had fixed the whole to a flower road, it may have made more sense for people to use the airport, because you see, traffic to the Volta region is a very long region. It's not like the eastern region where Kofredi is in the middle. So before the region was divided, the capital was Ho in the middle of the region. Look at how far Plao is down, and look at how high Hohwe is. Okay, so Ho in itself doesn't solve a problem unless the roads from Ho are good. Do you get me? So if assuming Sky has a funeral in Joje or Aflao, and he doesn't want to drive, if he wants to go by air, then the road from Ho to Aflao must be finished, so we can do an hour there. Otherwise, you rather drive through Pram. In the same way, if somebody's going to Hohwe, there's no reason why you take a plane and get to Ho and then use a rough route to Hohwe. It probably just has to drive. So the point around the airport must be connected to other forms of, so there must be a mix. The other point, the Volta Lake runs all the way from the north down south. All right. Yes, there are tree stumps, but a serious country cannot have proper water transportation where you have, I don't know what that's, a ferry or something. I mean, if you are bringing yams,
river boats.
Do you need to put all those yams on the road and the road keeps going bad? It's like we have decided to be so minimalistic in our thinking. You can't have this natural water course and then there's all these bad roads, because the thing about water is that you don't need to fix the water. You don't need to put asphalt on the water. You don't need to fill potholes. All you need to do is to deal with the tree stumps, and then you have a so it's like we are not having an integrated system of thinking about transportation, and it really worries me. It really worries me. You know. So anyway, that's not my focus for the morning. So people of Pram, if you want to do your demo, we are with you. We'll come and cover it for you. Because as for the story being told, we've told the story multiple times. I don't think there's any major road in this country that is bad that we haven't spoken about on either radio or television. I look. If you watch our weekend news, at least there's 2 road stories every weekend. You know, so we show the roads. I don't know. The government, and the other point is, yes, they claim that now that we've had a deal from the Eurobond people, money will be released. But now, the money to be released is not automatic that all roads will get. Because when I interviewed the official from the ministry, it says now they have to create a priority list. So maybe your demonstration will prioritize your road for you.
Exactly.
Yeah, because I think they are going to free up $250 million. Now, $250 million is a lot of money. But if you look at the roads that need to be fixed in Ghana that have been encumbered by debt exchange, it's obviously more than $250 million. So, the Oenya people, do your demo and say we want part of the 250 million. That's how it works. That's how it works. Because it should be peaceful, but it definitely should because your MP2 is quite loud. So I'm sure he'll probably join you, Samuel George. Because major arterials have to be fixed. You know, the Cape Coast Road is being done. Why shouldn't the Aflawa Road be done? Why shouldn't the Akusumo Road be done? It should be done. You know.
So the other point for me also is that the existing ones should not be left to be completely out of shape before they are maintained. You know, if you drive from Riz Junction to the Agbogba stretch, the whole stretch, so many potholes. And then around the bridges, there are always potholes because they flood, the culverts are not big enough. I don't know why we are always waiting for things to get out of hand before we look for big money to fix them.
Maybe because the people are okay. They drive on it every day, they just get angry.
It's unacceptable.
You need to sometimes let people know that actually
it's unacceptable
with the road. So yeah, shocks are getting spoiled. And the other thing is that we do things piecemeal, all right? So let me be controversial. Motorway to School Junction is the road they did because of the All Africa Games, okay? But I can say to you that from the School Junction to Agbogba is a more important road than the School Junction to Motorway. Because when you drive from School Junction to Motorway, not many people live on that road. The only reason that road was done because they were doing the All Africa Games and Boteman has opened up. And we are using it this weekend for the swimming. It's fantastic.
Finish.
But if you look at residents from School Junction to Ashaliboche,
heavily
Ashaliboche to Riz, from Riz to Agbogba, from Agbogba,
all
you come down to
Kwabenya.
Hacho.
Yes.
From Hacho to Kwabenya, from Kwabenya to Pokwase, from Pokwase, you can go to Nsawam. That's a major road. You get it? Though they are doing the Atomic Junction to Kwabenya 1. But if you take Hacho, okay, so you are doing Atomic Junction, Hacho. But if you take Agbogba all the way to School Junction, it's not been done. And the worst part is where the excavators were dumped. It's called Maya Junction.
Yeah, the airport area there.
So it's called Aviation.
Aviation, yes.
That road all the way to Riz Junction.
It's terrible.
It's really, really bad. And then Riz Junction leading you to Agbogba. You get me? So we spent a lot of money to fix a road from the motorway to School Junction. Fine, a lot of cars use it these days to avoid traffic. But if you look at the road that will really open up that area, it's not being done. It's the same thing with the point about the whole airport. We have to integrate the solution. Okay. But the way, and you see, this 250 million thing that they say has been released, Sky. You see, if politics drives something, it will satisfy people, but it will not solve the problem permanently. Because if you want to be objective and say, we have $250 million released from debt exchange that we want to use to fix roads. If it wasn't because you want to win elections, you will sit down and say, how do we create an integrated transport system in a way that will open up or unlock agriculture or something? So you want to say, okay, which roads, if we fix, will open up a critical node that will bring food prices down? Because, do you understand? You sit down and but they will say, well, these people, they will vote for us if we do the road. So let's do, you get it? So, which is why sometimes we say voting is good for accountability, but voting is not enough. So let me repeat the point. It's like a decision. Let me make it even simple for you. The decision of which secondary school to go to is a good decision. It's an important decision. But going to a good secondary school does not guarantee success. It's how you manage your life in that school that makes you successful. Give you an example. You like Oxford. So let's assume you want to do a PhD in law, and you got University of Johannesburg and University of Oxford. Then you say, well, let me go to Oxford because Oxford is the world's first university. You made the right decision. But going to Oxford to register for a PhD does not guarantee that it was a good decision. The decision only happens when you apply yourself to do the PhD. Do you get me? So let's bring it to voting. You vote for somebody. You vote for the person you prefer because he told you something you liked, as against the person who misperformed. Now, managing the decision, like how you behave at Oxford, is how you behave as a citizen. So the fact that you vote for a person who may even be good does not mean that he will do the right thing. If you don't police the vote throughout the process of getting them to be accountable, going for assembly meetings, doing protest marches, organizing education campaigns. Do you get that point? We think democracy is voting and then calling to radio stations. That's not democracy. And talking your mind. Democracy is managing the process of who you've chosen for them to do what you have to do. So here you are, 250 million will be released. Everybody is shouting for their road to be done. Yes, let them protest. But really, if we had, for a country like Ghana, there should be a rubric for deciding a transport mix. So you are doing a rail from Tema to Mpakadam. Is it the most important rail to do? Let's assume it is. They say they are doing cargo, no problem. Now, in most countries, the rail is two track. So you're going and you're coming. This is just one. So if the train gets spoiled on one, it's traffic. You can say we didn't have money. But my point is that what's the level of detailed thinking that went into that thing? So that you have just one rail. So it means we all wait, it goes. And then we all wait, it comes. You get it? Maybe it's a good start. But is that really how to do it? Take the Western region. We are talking about the west roads within the Takwa enclave. Why? Because most mining companies have heavy trucks. And heavy trucks, the heavier the load on a vehicle, the worse the effect on the road. So when we did the Heritage Caravan, there were places in the Western region that were almost impassable. Western North as well, because heavy trucks are carrying timber and bauxite and all these things. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the best way to convey bauxite is to do rail. But you put the thing in a what do you call it? In a truck, and the road gets worse. So you see, and there's no integrated planning because it's episodic. This guy needs to win elections. This guy prefers this. So we are not moving forward. You know, it's a really frustrating situation. But what can I say?
Just quickly to draw your attention to what former President Mahama said during the meet the press or the encounter with the media.
Mm-hmm.
I think he had suggested that the money that will be coming, a huge chunk will be going into paying, like we may have to use a huge chunk to pay for some things that had matured. He suggested something like that, and I think we have to get money. So we have had some agreement with the IMF people and related creditors for some money to come in. We are talking some big money. In one of his answers, he gave the indication that we may because we don't have money, we may have to dig into that money.
So let me even make it easy. I don't even think there's any money coming per se. My understanding of what's happening is that so you owe $13 billion of Eurobond, and the payments are due from next year. What you've succeeded in doing is you've succeeded in deferring the time of payment for some of the bonds to a future date, and you've also succeeded in helping to reduce the interest on the payment. So you can translate that into a saving. So if I owed 10 billion and I'm supposed to pay it next year, and they say I can pay 8 billion from next 3 years, that's basically the agreement. I'm simplifying it. Okay, so the 4.7 billion you're calculating is interest to have been paid, which have been reduced. So it's not fiscal cash coming in. But you see, the reason the road was incumbent was that if all loans were suspended until a debt agreement was reached. So, for example, if the Accra to Dowenya road was being funded by, say, the French government, you have not signed an agreement with France and China for your 5.1 billion, there's no way they are going to release extra money for the road that they've earmarked for development. So the release of other funds was based on the conclusion of your bilateral debt agreement. Do you understand my point? So I don't see it like physical cash. So what it does, that's what they use the word, it frees up money. Right, so it's almost like money was supposed to come, but they've frozen the money. So I don't think somebody's going to give us 4.7 billion cedis based on the agreement with the official creditors.
So the money that the IMF people are releasing to us in tranches, the money we are told it hits the BOG account. Does it come?
Yeah, that's different.
Okay.
So let me make it easy for you. Your total debt is $43 billion. All your debts. And your debts are categorized into domestic, cedi denominated, foreign. And your foreign is debt you owe to countries. That's bilateral debt, 5.1 billion. Then debt you accrued on the Eurobond market. That's 13 billion.
The kinky money.
Then there's also commercial credit you took from banks, China Exim, German Bank, and then there are other debts you took all over. So 43 billion. What they did was that they spent the first 8 months doing what is called domestic debt exchange. Because how does government borrow? Government can borrow short term from you. That's a treasury bill, 91, 182, 364. That's a bill. That's short term. But that one is not a problem because they pay quickly. But government also issues bonds. That's long term, 5-year, 10-year, 20-year. So what they did was they basically said, okay, Sky, we owe you 10,000 cedis. And we are supposed to pay you next year because you did an investment of 100 cedis and your whatever was mature. So Sky, we are going to reduce the interest you are supposed to get by 10%. And we're going to pay you next 5 years. So when you put all the savings they did, they save about $8 billion. From you and I, monies they promised us that they will pay pension bond holders. So all those are bonds. Okay. So generally speaking, they managed to reduce the average interest on those bonds from about 30% to about, say, 20%. Okay. And they also extended the tenor for some time. So the government gave itself breathing space in the domestic debt exchange. Then we owe countries, France, UK, China, US. The Western countries call themselves the Paris Club. It's a club. If you are not a big boy in OECD, you are not part. But we also owe China. Korea. Now, the Western countries say they won't give you debt forgiveness if they don't know what China is doing. Because if they forgive you your debt, you go and give the money to China. China to say you also owe us. So if we forgive you, you can give the money to the West. So they have to form an official creditor committee. So China and the French together come together and say, let's come and discuss these people, their debt. The total amount we owe those countries together is 5.1 billion. So they all agreed together the terms, which is why, I mean, after Stéphane Roudet left Accra, he took a plane to China. So Stéphane Roudet is a Frenchman. He's working for IMF. But after the OCC meeting, he has to also go to China to sort of make sure they're also on the same page. So basically speaking, we have to now account to bilateral. So they are multilateral, bilateral. So World Bank is multilateral. They lend to many countries. Bilateral is what you do with UK, China, whatever. So our bilateral debt is 5.1 billion. They have come to an agreement as to how we will treat it. They haven't forgiven us. So they are saying they will reduce some of the interest and you will pay at a later date. So you've saved 8 billion domestically, you've saved by 5 billion from bilateral. But you also borrowed crazily. Look, we did our first Eurobond in 2007 under Kufuor. Then we did a Eurobond under Mills around 1.5 billion. Mahama's total Eurobond was like 3 billion. The Eurobond under this government in the 2 terms is about 12 billion. You get it? So a Eurobond is not a country.
These are private people.
Good. So it's more expensive debt that you've gone to take on with more punitive terms and very unforgiving. But once you owe those guys, the IMF is saying, we're going to give you need money, you are hot. We're going to give you $3 billion, only $3 billion. We're not going to give you that money if you haven't come to an agreement with the bilaterals and also the Eurobond. So they did front load the payment. So the 3 billion, they give you some money first. I think they gave you 600. They give another 600. They give you 360. Okay. But all those monies they are giving you, you are going to pay it back. Now, the reason they can tell you what to do is that, so this is the whole game. You've borrowed yourself into the ground. You can't do anything. So somebody going to give you 3 billion. By him giving you the 3 billion, he's going to, in a sense, force you or work with you to take decisions that will make sure that you can pay back his 3 billion. And the thing he's going to do means that's why when we went to announce that we had come to an agreement with the Eurobond holders, the IMF didn't agree because they said the threshold it will leave our numbers was not good enough to assure them that we could pay. So it's almost like, because you are giving me 3 billion, every other thing I have to do, I have to come and tell you if it agrees with your, do you understand? Yeah. So we went to meet the people, they said, oh, they will give us some deferred payments and whatever. IMF said no. So we have to go back. So now IMF agrees, so they release the 360. Please, you see where I'm coming. So if somebody tells you that we've succeeded in renegotiating our debt, it's fine, but we're still going to pay. And by the way, some of the monies we owe, they deferred the payment for 16, 17 years. So by 2035, 2036, when your daughter is lecturing at Oxford, they will be paying that money. And some of the money we use it to do consumption. We didn't. So if, like, let's assume you took that 13 billion. So the 13 billion we took, so let's assume the 13 billion we owe the Eurobond. We had said we use 13 billion to develop a rail infrastructure to change our transportation for good. So you will build rail from Takoradi to Takwa to Ninahin. You build rail from Accra to wherever, in Pakadan, front and back, buy the rails and use that to open up rail transportation
across the country.
Okay, because you are going to use that to transport your minerals to the coast and transport your food. And you are going to release pressure on your roads. So this is the thing. So if you borrow 13 billion, very expensive debt. If you could use that to say you do that, then I can give you that. Okay, fine. The 13 billion, assuming it can do rail transport, it will release pressure on my roads. It will open up. So you, in justifying the 13 billion, you can say, in 10 years' time, all the bauxite we are developing in Yinehin and Awaso will be brought to the coast by rail. We are going to do maybe a refinery. So we don't need to sell raw bauxite. We are going to add value, and then we are going to sell alumina and produce our pots and pans here. That's not the only thing. It will also bring food from the north. So the issue of food getting rotten on our roads will go down. We can feed our agribusinesses with the raw material. So you make a case and you say the 13 billion.
This is what I used it for.
Then you can say, even though we are in debt, because the rail transport and the thing we are doing, by the time your daughter is 50 years old, she can still see the benefit. She can pay. What have they used the 13 billion for?
That's the question I was going to ask.
I say
I'm not the one supposed to answer that.
No, I understand. But
it's the government that's supposed to answer that question.
But do we know what the government claims it has used the money for?
They should know. I don't know. If
13
billion is such a big amount of money that I shouldn't be struggling to tell you where it is. Do you understand me? And this is Eurobond. So I don't know where the money is. I don't know what they will say they used to defer some payments. So let me tell you, the main game in Ghana was basically this. You owe somebody based on some terms. So you go. So I owe Nathan 100 cedis at maybe 10%. So I go to Sky when my Nathan payment is due, and I ask Sky to give me maybe another 10, or let's give me 5 at 8% instead of the 10%. So you say, oh, I'm better than.
Yeah, the terms are better.
So the 5%, the 8% that Sky is giving me, I'll use that to pay off when Nathan is due.
So we are borrowing money to pay for debt.
So that's what we're using a lot of the money for, to pay.
So we get better terms, perceived better terms elsewhere.
You are just kicking the can down the road. And when you get to a point and the game is up, everybody decides that they're going to withdraw their money. Nobody's going to give you any money anymore. Then you are hot. So basically, we're borrowing quite recklessly, I need to say. Recklessly, to make payments and to do other things, which I am not the one to tell you. If 13 billion has been used to do something.
In this economy, you should be able to see it.
I'm not the one. I don't have to come on and explain to you. And I give you an example of what you could do.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a real transport system that's working, that's an example. Or you revamp Tor, you build 3 refineries, and you say, we spend too much money importing finished products. So we are going to build a refinery in Takrady, one in Tema, and one somewhere else. Then you can say, we borrowed a lot of money, but we've changed the face of petroleum product importation. Or just that, or you're going to do...
specific example. When we needed additional power generation capacity, Kufo went to China, got us money to build Bui, right?
Wonderful.
Something like that.
Wonderful.
Mills went to China, got us money to build the thermal, the one, the what do you call it, the gas processing facility.
So Kufo, yes, good. So Kufo will say, the money I took, Bui is there.
Yeah.
Mills will say, the money I took, your gas thing is there. So what this government needs to explain to us is what the money was used for.
But we are still looking for the campsite for the Pualugu multipurpose dam.
But that's just 12 million. I'm talking not chicken change. But I'm not even sure it's part of this Eurobond thing. I don't even know where they got the money from. Okay. So we need to ask, or the government needs to show, or the government needs to justify what it used the money for. Because don't forget, Eurobonds are very expensive. Okay. So why are people agitating for roads? You've said that you've gotten debt relief. So money has been freed up. So build our roads. Roads are great. Okay. But where are the roads?
13 billion.
You hear me?
I thought the government said they had done more roads than it needed.
Yeah, that's what they said. But the question they are, okay, so fine.
Yeah, so that, but I'm also not there. Why are the roads?
Yeah, so if you've done that,
that's the question I'm asking.
I'm not the one to answer that question. You understand? Because you are defining roads to include roads you graded and all of those things. I'm talking about transformation. You see, somebody said something last week. Borrowing is not a crime. It's what you do with the money.
Yep.
Borrowing is not a crime. It's what you do with the money. So if you borrowed the amount that you've borrowed from the Eurobond market,
$13 billion,
you need to show. I am saying if you borrow for transformative infrastructure or to transform an industry, and that transformation can yield enough returns to allow you to pay back, I have no problem with borrowing.
Yeah.
So they should be telling us where the money is and what they use it for.
Let's take some of your comments coming in thus far. This one says, good morning, Bernard. The government will tell you they used the money for free senior high school. That's the only answer they give you anytime they are questioned about how they used the money they borrowed. That's coming in from Edmond in Nungwa. Ni Ado from Amanfro says, good morning, Bernard and team. The other problem is that if the CD was 6 to the dollar at the time you borrowed, and at the time of repayment, the CD is now 15 Ghana cedis to the dollar, your situation is worse. You know, Vizio. This one says, Ben and team, you may not like my view, but I can tell you those of us in areas of opposition MPs will not benefit from this money. Probably 1% may come to us, and the rest to where the government has sitting MPs. A town like Bogoso to Prestia will not, as you say, you are talking about the road, will not be done. It's the worst of all the roads in Africa. Whatever it is, may God be with us. And most of us listen to City because you don't bring political apparatchiks to come and defend their parties and make so much noise in the morning, getting us more angry. Keep the good work you are doing up. And it goes on to talk about some other things, including, meanwhile, I am still on the Michelle Camp Road in thick traffic while a Land Cruiser Prado using the middle of the lane, is using the middle of the lane with a police officer. One day, we will insist they all join the queue. We refuse to give them way, aside from security V. The anger is boiling. It's coming in from Blay, who is listening to us somewhere in Community 25. And this one says, good morning, Bernard and team. Go through Eburi to Edukrom and then descend to Somanya and then to Pon. It is a short route. Really?
That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, that's right. That was what you were mentioning. Yes. But I'm wondering whether that is really a short route.
Well, if you don't want to use the rough road, so if you want to beat traffic,
So you from Adabraka, now you drive.
I drove to Ekropong last 2 weeks from Adenta. I could count the potholes. There are not that many. Maybe between Mamfe and Ekropong, a few potholes. But from Accra to Peduasi to Eburi to Obosamasi to the road is pretty good.
It's sad.
So when you get to Edukrom, then you descend. So now you are going to the Voltage, you must climb the mountain.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. That's the route.
Bernard, you've never mentioned Kwashibu Road. Please, we need our road fixed.
Okay.
It's coming in from Daniel, who is listening.
Nathan, where is that?
Kwashibu.
Kwashibu. Let's say
Kwashiman's brother.
if you like. It's on this opposite side of Hong Kong. That broad area. Okay. That's the question.
Moses from Abokobi says, Bernard and team, please, outdoor you move to Kodiabe Road. Oh, hey! The road is so bad. The last time the indigents had to go on a demonstration over the road. This one from Silo in Laboni. It says, Bernard, please check the Kolebu Road.
It's true.
It's in a terrible condition with huge potholes. Ambulances are even struggling to use that road. Wow.
Bernard, I think this Kolebu thing, we should highlight it a bit more. This is our tertiary hospital. You have all major cases referred from across the country to Kolebu. The road you will drive on going to Kolebu, honestly, it doesn't make sense. There is no sense in why Kolebu's road should be like that. This one is an SOS. They should quickly get it done. It doesn't require so much. Again, we have about 14,000 inmates in our prisons, right? Each of them is fed 1 CD, 80 pesos. There are mechanisms where people are taught how to use small-scale road implements to fix basic roads and all these things. We can deploy some of our inmates to, teach them how to do basic, uncomplicated pothole patching, and things will be done. We don't have money. We are struggling with money issues. We have resources in our inmates, in our prisons. Train them, deploy them, let them patch these things. But the Kolebu one day, it's very bad.
Let me just say that the point I was making around, I agree with what you're saying. The point I was making around the decision to vote and then the being an active citizen after the vote applies to many things. So you can demonstrate to do a road. They will fix the road and in 3 months the road goes bad. So even the process of doing the road, we have to get involved. Monitoring to make sure that it's in the right materials, because there have been a number of road people have spoken to us on this show where in less than 6 months the road was washed off. Right. So for me, it's almost like the system has ground to a halt in a way. We are not able to move to the next level, and we are running around in circles. So I take all the comments about the roads that need to be done. Look, it may not even be the most objective way of awarding roads. Maybe the person who shouts the loudest, who comes on a city breakfast show, gets his road done. Is that really how it's supposed to be?
No.
You get it?
What's
What's the transport plan? Look, I've said to you, if you cannot coordinate, integrate. If you cannot integrate, coordinate. I keep repeating this. So, what is the integrated transportation plan for the country? And in that plan, where do we have roads? Where do we have rail? Where do we have water? Where do we have air? That's the kind of question we should be asking, and those are the discussions we should be having in relation to how to deploy even the 248 million or whatever is coming. Okay. But I don't think that discussion is being had. I don't think we are even ready for that discussion. All right. So it's sometimes you despair, but what can you do?
Let's take some more comments before we move on to some other things. This one says, good morning, Bernard and team. Good morning. Please come and have a look at the Tema Main Harbour Road from Tema Motorway Runabout to the Main Harbour. It is in a terrible condition. We are in trouble as a country.
From
the main port of Tema that is bringing so
the Valco Runabout that takes you to the Tor area. It's just amazing. This road takes you to some of the biggest industries that produce some of the most important things for Ghana. You won't believe it. And it's been that way for years. It's been that way for years.
So for instance, if you have about 1,000 or so vehicles using the Tema Port Road every what do you call it? Every month.
Yeah.
for instance, if you decide and toll it so that all these big trucks that are coming from there, not that they will come and get to a point where they are paying, but you charge them for it.
Automated.
Yes, because why should they be using the road to cut goods from here to Mali and all of these places,
free,
and we are not getting anything in return?
They are destroying our roads
in terms of getting the money to fix the road.
How much were you getting in road tolls? No, the road toll money, you are not getting it.
No, what I'm saying is that, look, I'm not talking about general tolling around the country.
Okay.
I'm talking about the heavy industrial area, the heavy Temaport area where all of these trucks are coming out of with huge containers.
Yeah.
I mean, there should be no reason why those roads should be in terrible condition.
This is the way I see it. We don't think because Sky, every year you have to register your car. Okay. So the objective is not to toll a road. The objective is to raise money for the road. So you can say that anybody with a truck, if you are registering your car, okay, so you pay a regular fee for your check. We can charge you a one-time per annum payment for road construction. It could be 200 cedis. That money can go into something directly road rehabilitation.
Yes.
But we won't do it. We prefer to do road toll, put some people there and say they are collecting 50 cedis a day. They don't account for the money because it's somebody's deal.
Oh, God.
You get it? I don't see how we are thinking in this country. You have all these big trucks. They line up near the motorway. They use the road for free.
Yes.
They use the road for free. We don't charge them anything. Because we've politicized everything. You know? It's... I don't know. I don't know.
But the other point is that sometimes I feel our leaders don't feel what we go through. It's like what the gentleman was saying. The road is bad. What they do when you come into office, that quickly your car is changed from whatever you're driving to a brand new Land Cruiser or Toyota SUV automatic. You are driving, you are not feeling the potholes. And when we are in excruciating traffic, you are not buying fuel, you are doing peeping, you're gone. So they are not in the traffic, they are not feeling the pain. Their fuel is not gasoline. Even if it's gasoline, chances are it's our taxes they are using. So they are not feeling what we are feeling.
That brings me to...
They're not going to hospital.
Their children are not writing.
They're not writing easy.
That brings me to an issue.
You are in a different country.
They don't understand.
My brother, let me rub some salt in your injury. Someone drew my attention, was it yesterday or 2 days ago, to a proposed amendment. You know, when we did this campaign, the Indiscipline Must Stop campaign on the road, a number of members of parliament were arrested, chief executives and their deputies and government appointees. I'm picking up signals from very reliable sources that they intend to amend the provisions having to do with driving on our roads, so that it will be possible for our MPs, our political appointees, to speed anyhow.
Oh, sir.
So that they can get to parliament early or their destinations early.
Really?
See, people of Ghana, if indeed this proposed amendment goes before parliament, as a collective, we need to oppose it. We need to oppose it as fiercely as we can. Because...
Sorry, what's this amendment?
You know, there are speed limits that apply across the country. So if you're in a built-up area, there's a way you must drive. If you're on a highway, there's a limit to which you must drive and all of that. Beyond which, if you do that, they will arrest you and prosecute you. Now, what I am getting from reliable sources, the effect of which would be that exceptions are being created for the political class.
The road traffic regulation.
Yeah, that's right. To amend the same to allow for some of these excesses to be carried out by the political class to the extent...
The amendment of Regulation 74 of the LI, which allows a siren or a bell to be fitted as a warning appliance in classes of vehicles. Now, the new addition to the vehicles that can use siren and or alarms are vehicles belonging to MPs and ministers of state. So they're also amending Regulation 166 of LI 2180, where speed limits shall no longer be applied to MPs and ministers of state.
Now you have the apple. Bernard, we have to oppose this. We have to oppose it. And it's based on a number of levels. First of all,
it is not like they are doing us any great service anyway. Right? It is all about, oh, I am passing this, I am opposing it, without doing proper scrutiny. If Parliament was doing its job properly as an institution, the problems we have complained about today, as in the use of the Eurobond, the use to which it has been put, whether there has been value for money, they would have done that job. But it's about, oh, there's some Sikano bill, let's go and oppose it. Sikano bill, let's go and pass it. So that at the end of the day, proper scrutiny is not done, serious critical questions are not asked to insist that, look, if you have not brought us an update of how you use the money, we have gone there to see that, oh, you use the money for A, B, C, and D, and we are satisfied that we can commit the public purse further, and therefore, let us expend more money. If they were doing that properly, we wouldn't be where we are today. We saw a member of parliament who was rushing to parliament to pass what? He was rushing to take part in a vote. Somebody nearly died as a result of that.
Yeah.
Right?
I remember.
As we speak, we are told the man said he was not interested in pressing charges and the vehicle has been replaced and all of that. We don't want to see a lot more of that. The MPs, the ministers must be responsible. If you have to get to parliament at 3 p.m. in the afternoon, make sure you get there at least an hour ahead of time. Sit down, look at the things that you have to deal with, read through them before you go to the chamber. You don't sit somewhere and then sometimes you are doing something that is completely unrelated to the business of the people of Ghana, and then you sit in, what do you call it, motorcade, people, rushing everybody off the road just because you want to get to parliament and say, yeah. We will not agree to that.
Then we have to also add the ministers then.
No, it's the same thing. The ministers are also part of it. Sometimes what transformation has happened to this country as to require that we create further exception. We have in many cases bought electricity for you. Your servants in the house, we are paying for it.
Free.
Your health services, we are paying for it. So when you travel outside this country, we pay for it.
Let me get
Here, we pay for it. We pay your vehicle for you. Your homes, we are supplying it.
So let me get this straight. So they're saying that now, beyond heads of state, vice presidents, speakers, and CJs, ministers, justices of the Supreme Court, and MPs can also, fit a siren or bell on their vehicle as a warning appliance?
We reject it.
Is that what the amendment is saying?
That is what we are hearing, Bernard. And we have to sound the alarm bells that we will not accept this. If you want to get there, prepare and leave ahead of time. You don't see this happening in other countries.
No. Because prior to this, it was only the vice president, vice speaker, I think CJ, and then police vehicle, Ghana Fire Service, National Ambulance Service.
Those are reasonable.
And then a motor vehicle used by ambulance.
Yes.
As well as a hospital. So a bullion van. So those were the ones category. So they are adding MPs and ministers of state.
Yes.
And justices of the Supreme Court.
It is completely unacceptable. Bernard, in my years in the UK, you sit on the under how was the name? The tube, right?
The tube, yeah.
You see Supreme Court justices; they are sitting there with you. If they have to be reading a document, they are reading it.
Of course, there is prestige VIP, so they will be ahead or something.
Sometimes not even in VIP. If you want to go to first class, you can go there.
First class.
Yeah, they'll pay you what they have to pay, and you decide how you use the money, right? They sit on the train with you. They are reading, they are drinking tea. The MPs are there. The ministers are there. You see all of them, right? They are feeling... So when they say that, oh, a particular train service is disrupted, they feel it. They feel it with you because they know that, oh, you have to connect to Belfast. You have to connect to Scotland. You have to connect to this particular place. But because the service is disrupted, you feel it. So when you go to Parliament, you are able to raise the issue.
Let me ask you a question. Remember I was doing an interview with a politician. I was asking about why they need V8. And then they were saying they have to go to funerals and those things.
Is that part of your responsibility as a member of Parliament?
I'm coming. I think sometimes the society also allows... based on the way we expect our leaders to behave, this type of wastage, because they'll say, MP Pa, you are driving a... Imagine if your MP drives a Toyota Vitz. will your people ridicule him or they would applaud him? Just hold on. I'm not talking about you. You ask for you. I know the way you think. You see, we are in Ghana saying that our leaders are wasting our resources. If your member of parliament was driving a Toyota Vitz or taking boat to work, what would people think of them? What would people say? If your member of parliament didn't come to funerals, I met an MP at a wedding last month. He said that was his 4th event for the day. So apparently he has to go to about 4 events a day and make donations throughout. Okay. So sometimes the society's mindset towards leaders encourages that sort of behavior where we expect them to live large. We expect them to do you get it?
No, but I don't think
I want us to tackle that. No, I am not justifying their behavior. So what I'm trying to say to you is that if you want to change the culture, if you want to change the behavior in parliament, the people's expectation has to change. So the MPs behave the way they do, and they are doing all these things because somehow they get endorsed.
And the appointees.
The MPs, the ministers, and appointees, this behavior is endorsed by the people. So it's not the fault of the people. That's what I'm saying. So, but they see that we endorse it by tacitly encouraging them to do it. Do you understand my point? Because if people can ridicule their MP for not building a house, they say, until we the MP for is going to be in Sidai, over a politician, one wow, so they use the code. They say, so Nathan, you were MP for 4 years, you didn't help anybody. Now, when they say you didn't help anybody, they didn't say they didn't do good policy. So they are not saying Nathan didn't do his job in parliament too. He didn't put constituency in police. He didn't give them jobs at Senate. He didn't find some of them jobs in parliament. So he's a bad person. So they'll change Nathan and vote for Caleb because Caleb, he's getting money from Galamsey. So he's spreading the boys. He's paying people's funeral donations. You see, so I am saying that a society where this kind of tomfoolery will occur, as you just described, is because people think Nathan is a bad guy and Caleb is a good guy. They won't ask Caleb where he got the money from. So Caleb wants to be MP. He's spreading the boys. He's doing well. He goes to see the chief. The chief likes him. So everybody says Caleb is great. They say, oh, Nathan, you will chisel. Now, Nathan may be very important in the finance committee, doing some really good work. He doesn't have a lot of money, so he doesn't want to go to many meetings. But he was not But Caleb is making money from Gala. And the Gala money, he sought. In fact, he has poached Nathan's constituency secretary. So every time Nathan has a meeting,
it's compromised.
Every time Nathan has a meeting, Caleb knows. So Caleb knows. And we they hail Caleb because shall be proper honorable guy. Okay. Now he's become MP now. Now the Gala money is flowing. But he also needs other monies because now he's visible. He wants to be deputy minister. So now he needs more money to do other things. So he needs a deal to cut. Nathan is sitting home as opposition. They say, when he was MP, he didn't do anything for us. So he's now a bad guy because they say, he is poor because he didn't do anything. He's a wicked guy. Now, is he supposed to use his salary to do the thing for us?
No.
Is he supposed to use his position to push your hometown people into Bank of Ghana? Is that what Nathan's work is? So I am saying that the reason our leaders behave the way they behave, in addition to their own lack of vision, is that we too, we tacitly encourage by who we choose. Because we are not asking Caleb, how come all of a sudden Caleb is getting so much money to run for this campaign? How come all of a sudden, you understand, everybody who's going to vote for him has a flat screen TV? He has 5 cars. He builds a big house. He has parked like 8 cars in his house. Nobody's asking, this guy was in school with him. What work did he do that he has 8 cars in his house? Okay. Oh, he's honorable. So he do honorable. Then now he wants to change the law to make sure he can now use siren. He has to send his kids to a school where they pay dollars. When he's sick, he goes to US because he has to pay for the lifestyle that he has built. That we now, when he comes to church, we don't tell him that politician, God will punish you. I will say, oh, today we have an important guest coming. So he sits next to the pastor. Then the pastor tells him that, Charlie, my daughter, she wants to get into the police. Can you help me? When he has a scandal, can you tell him to stop the scandal? Do you follow me? So corruption is both administrative and legal, but it's also behavioral. We have created a system where they feel it's okay for them to drive through traffic like that because when they come, you give them the front seat in church anyway. We invited them and give speeches at our speech days because they are the guys who are prominent in society. The guy who comes in an Uber is not serious. The guy who was MP and he didn't do anything for his family members is considered a bad person. And this thing I'm saying is not even like the bad in society. Very good people in society think like that. So Nathan was MP for 4 years, and 1 year hey, Nathan is bad. Yeah, his family. Also, I know his father to the same way. That's how they are. Oh, they are bad people. Who vote for them again? So the Caleb. Now, so when they catch, now let me make so now this Caleb guy is getting money from Galamsey. Now the police who catches this guy is probably in Caleb's pocket. So they'll say, oh, Charlie Gala boys you catch him. 2 of them you have to let them go. Because when they talk, my whole empire will collapse. Leave the other 2. So the police is corrupted. So the pastor is corrupted, the police is corrupted. The media guy is sort them out. So when the story comes, he decides that he'll do a review and put some aside and he'll do only this story. That's how you destroy society. So his kids are not in your school. He doesn't go to your hospital. He drives 3 V8s. But he's sorting out the boys. And so long as the sorting is happening, we're all happy with it. They say, Caleb, he builds people. He's very good. When he became MP, look at the people he set up, or the way out to her, the way out to her. Even the pastor is talking about him, preaching about him, that don't be like Nathan, be like Caleb. Okay. Why wouldn't they go to parliament to make a law that when Caleb is driving, he shouldn't go to nomad? Because he's more important than you. Yes. Because you don't do anything for them. You get me? So we have created a society which now does not differentiate. The values have been corrupted. So what is even worse about economic mismanagement is now the values corruption. So now people can't even tell right from wrong. So now a role model is somebody who drives a big car, smells good, and has kids in a big school and is wealthy. Irrespective of where he gets his money from. So the DC is part of the problem because now he's on the guy's payroll. The police commander is on the guy's payroll. Alright? The pastor is on the guy's payroll. The general is on the guy's payroll. So you're the 2 or 3 CS who's making noise there. You are against. They'll even go and pray against you. They'll do all night and say, anybody fighting against Caleb's progress, fire to catch the person because he's trying to destroy. So they'll be clapping their hands and praying against you because you are against. Because he's the one sorting. Caleb Abba, a son of the soil, is doing so well. Then Ghanaians we are. They say Ghanaians we are. Then they'll say Ghanaians we are envious because we want foreigners to succeed and we want locals to fail. So they convert it into a sermon to say, oh, Ghanaians, when a black man is doing, we don't like it. Instead of where the guy is getting his money. So now, when you are journalists who even target, say, oh, after you are always negative.
Skin pain.
Then you turn around and wonder why the country is not doing well. How can the country go forward? You get me? So in that particular look, again, don't misconstrue me. I'm not saying that that's the reason why.
Yeah.
You get it? But the behavior, so it's 2 ways. The leaders have allowed a certain level of behavior, but the people have also tolerated a certain level of behavior by their acquiescence. And you see, everybody's failing. The journalist is failing, the pastor is failing, the DC is failing, the police is failing. The society gets corrupted. You get it? So so if the corruption is now systemic. Okay, so now they feel they have a divine right to mismanage. Guys, you see where I'm going? Now, if leaders in society don't rise up and say, this has to change, men and women of conscience will say, no, this has gone too far. No, we will not agree. Don't vote for this guy. This guy, we don't know where he takes his money from. Stop vilifying people who try to do the right thing and stop promoting those who we don't know where they are getting their money from. Why can you not stop Galamsey? Sky, you drive. A friend of mine visited me this weekend. He said he came with some people to drive around Ghana. He was just weeping. Everywhere the water was brown. I said, what's wrong with you guys? He says, well, the people who finance politics are behind those who pollute your water. So in a way, whilst you're fighting to say stop Galamsey, the guy supposed to stop it is benefiting from it. You get me? So it's a leadership. The leader has failed the people because what he does determines what everybody else does. So when he says, I'm not going to tolerate this, I don't know all about the Frimpong Boati issue, but I feel hurt that up to today is almost like the fall guy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If the president says, okay, you know what? I've sacked him. DCs that are in Galamsey growing areas, Galamsey supporting DCs, so maybe there are 25 constituencies, like the way you did the voter league thing. So let's assume you've identified the river basins that have been polluted, and you call the DCs in the river basins and say, I'm giving you 6 months. Work with your MP and whoever to make sure Galamsey stops with your RegSec or your DISEC. And in 3 months, you start sacking DCs because Galamsey persists. You think Galamsey will continue? leadership. He's not. He doesn't want to stop it. If you want to stop Galamsey as a president of the country, you can't stop it. Say, DCE, pick a Galamsey community. I'm changing you. IGP, your dissect guy is not helping the Galamsey fight, so he has to go. You get it? Because the dissect is chaired by the district chief executive. There's the police guy there, the security agencies are there, the MPs are there. If you do a jihad against Galamsey, you will get results, but they are not interested because say, hey, if you move too much, this guy, Caleb, he's the one funding the party. Until you say you lose it to NDC and yes, I Galamsey had because Uyi Caleb Fiwa on no so
party no
on Okra executives Okra party no. Do you see where I'm going?
Yeah.
So you go and give a big speech, you launch a big project, but we know it won't work because the people benefiting from Galamsey are financing the party. If he's financing the party, why? So the leader can say, well, so when he says I'm going to put my presence on the line, then he means that he can lose that seat because he will do the right, but he won't do it because he doesn't mean what he said. That's why we are here fighting. We are here because the guys who are benefiting are connected to the system. Do you see where I'm going? So it's a leadership failure. And when we, the others, the media people, the pastors and all the people, professors, we decide to look on, then we are also culpable. Yes, because you cannot tell me that the Sky Galamsey doesn't the president see it?
He does.
Don't the MP see it? Doesn't the speaker see it?
They do.
Doesn't the judiciary see it?
They do.
The police chiefs. Look, we have police, we have army, we have all these people. They don't see Galamsey.
They do.
You're telling me that the bad guys are stronger than the rest of us?
No.
Or collectively, those who want Galamsey are more than those who are against it? So you see, it's not an isolated problem. Your corrupt politics, your Galamsey, your economic mismanagement, your ineptitude in parliament, your bad health system, your education, all of them are linked. Because once you allow one to go bad,
everything goes down.
You get it? And at the center of all that is the values. Societal values corrupted. Now young people prefer to bet. What do they prefer to do? They don't want to farm. They don't want to learn. They don't want to apply themselves. We are creating a society that will be a caricature of itself. And we are all looking on because our favorite party or our favorite friend or our favorite somebody is the person in the seat. You see, if you love your country, you have to speak the truth. So this situation we are describing of our values, let's put our money where our mouth is. Let's vote for people. So for me, as the delegate of a party, it's not money that determines who you should vote for. Look at the guy, listen to him. Does he have a good plan? Is he honest? Is he brave? Those are what I look for. So if I'm going to vote for an MP, I listen to the guy. Does he know that this work is a difficult work? Has he paid the price in his head? It's not because he's giving me money. Can he stand up to bribes? When somebody wants to bring money from China to build something that we know is wrong, can he say no? Can he work with the police to insist on the right? That's you need a man of character, not somebody who's giving you money for a flat screen. If he gives you flat screen, chances are that he's bought your conscience. So we have to vote at the MP level. Let's vote for honest people. And you can't tell me that you don't know them. Because you know, if somebody lives in Adenta for 20 years, we know his family. So if he comes all of a sudden and starts giving you money, I mean, where did he get the money from? Somebody comes, forget about party. If somebody comes and says, vote for me to be my MP, we are choosing people who come in a lot of the constituencies where problems are. This is MPs. Galamsey. We are choosing people we know. We don't know the history of their money, but we don't question it. And therefore, they cannot change anything. Please, do you see my argument? So I am not absolving the leaders. The leaders have failed, and the citizens have allowed that failure to continue. You get it? So what do we get every day? Please come and fix my road. Please come and do this. They send that message, then they go to work. They go back home. It's a repeated cycle. We have an election coming. Look for honest people. Look for men and women of integrity. And when you find them, campaign for them. Go door to door. Do you see? Engage the people and say, I want an honest, brave. That's what I want. A man who starts. Because it's one thing to say, I'll put my presidency on the line to fight Galamsey. It's another thing when it will affect the financing of your party. If you can actually do it. If you don't have character, if you are not strong, you can't do it. We need men who can stand up. There are few. There are very few. There are many people making noise. There are many people who have money. There are very few men of integrity in the land who can stand up. Because there's a price to pay. When they are doing the deals, don't call you. They say, you're against. Don't give you some interviews because you will spoil it. When they are doing the meeting, you comes on. Your own church don't, because everybody's in the pie. All those who are eating, you people are sorting people. Every day you are talking. So like you are not part. So you are like PC appeal for it. You every day you are against.
And your children will say why? As
we sit here, where is PC appeal for it? I'm sure somebody will say, don't be like PC appeal for it because he went to parliament to oppose his own party and now he's there. You see where I'm coming from? Society must look at itself in the mirror and repent. We have a problem. You see, and the leadership is just inept. And the honesty is not there. The moral compass. Because what gives you moral authority? You see, a leader's authority is not just power in terms of physical power. Your credibility, your character, and your performance is what makes you, that's what gives you moral authority. So if I say don't take bribes as your president or as your boss, it means that, number one, I don't take the bribes. Right? And I'm consistent in performing. So I don't say come to work at 6 o'clock and I come to work at 8 o'clock. Do you understand? So I must set example. So I must be consistent in my performance. I must be consistent in my character. That's what gives me the moral authority to say you shouldn't do it. I can't tell you not to do something so let's assume we say in city, we don't do whatever. Don't bring your relatives to come and employ them. Then I bring my cousin and my nephew and I put them here. Then I say don't do it. That's just stupid. Do you understand? So people look at the leader and they decide. If you crack the whip as the leader, they will follow because you live that same standard. Since we've chosen this system where the president can appoint 6,000 people, we need to look carefully who we choose. Because that person can destroy your life by the decisions he allows. So Ghanaians, election is not just my party, the elephant, the umbrella thing. Look for men and women who are honest and who are courageous. Because in the world, bad people kill good people. In the world, good people don't last. Bad people live long. Sometimes we think that, if you obey it's true. Bad people outlive good people because they're always conspiring to kill them. So they demote them, they character assassinate them. And I'll always use Rebon Banti as an example. Look at his achievement in all the, but look at where look at how he was messed up because of politics. Because he was goading some people's ox. He was talking too much and he was doing too much wahala. So if we want the country to be better, it's not easy. You have to be brave. You have to stand up. There are some things you won't get. They will insult you. They will use your picture for meme every day. Don't worry. Even Jesus, the ones he came to save, what did they do for him? Didn't they insult him? So that's leadership. Okay. But who am I choosing? That's where the voting issue comes in. And then when you vote, don't say because I voted for Sky,
you go to bed.
So in my Nathan versus Caleb example, if you vote for Nathan because Caleb is the Galamsey guy, Nathan is a human being.
Yeah.
So don't assume that because Nathan went to a cracker with you and he's from your hometown, you do the right thing.
Police the system.
So don't take anything he says on the surface value. Check him. If you are his pastor, he comes to church, make sure it's on the straight and narrow. If you are his village chief, call him and say, hey, in this village, you don't take bribes. Do you understand? And make sure that the people around him are also correct. Because when he starts putting Rompo near him, they will corrupt him as well. So it's beyond choosing Nathan. It's making sure that we create a system where Nathan is forced to do the right thing. We the people. The constitution starts from we the people, not the president, not the chief of staff. It is we the people who have to decide that even if Nathan wins and beats Caleb because Caleb is bad and Nathan is good, the fact that we like Nathan doesn't mean that we'll give Nathan a free pass. Nathan also has to rise to the occasion. But in our mind, it's binary. Caleb has chopped, so let Nathan to come and chop. And when you, Sky, tries to criticize Nathan, says Sky is against, every day he's fighting leaders because he is from a poor family, so he thinks everything. It's like the society has, and our job is to let people, to ventilate these issues for people to know. Sky, if it was because of insult, that you see, one bravery and courage and all these things, people must insult you. Don't worry about it. Just make sure that when you can sleep at night. Because you have a conscience. So you see, a leader without a conscience, a leader who can see evil happening and sleep well is a bad leader.
Terrible leader.
When there's no money to pay salaries, sometimes my boss don't know if he sleep. Because sometimes we think our Charlie, and it's not about paying we first. You need to give the people. Do you know what I'm saying? So leadership is not old-fashioned. It's still the issue at stake. It's the issue. It's not old-fashioned institutions. It takes credible men and women to build credible institutions. If you put a bad man in charge of a state institution, he will destroy it. So the Obama point is true, but we must qualify it. Right? Nothing is possible without people. The counterfactual, nothing is lasting without institutions. So don't put all your hope in one man. Because man at the core, the heart of man is desperately wicked. So to protect the man, put institutions and accountability structures near him to save him from himself. So don't create this hero of somebody like, oh, he's a champion, he's incorruptible. It's not true. There's nobody who's incorruptible. We are all corruptible. So what you do is, when you put the man there, put shraj, put courts, create things around him to save him from himself. Mm-hmm. That's what you do. But we vote because we like Haas and Kotoko. So we vote for NDC, MPP, whoever, because we like them. And when they come to power, everything they do, we like it. Everything they don't do, just. And so he will be corrupted and he'll be stealing your money, but you are still cheering for him because he's from your hometown. You have not put in place structures, and so any attack against an institution is an attack against democracy. So, for example, if they want to destroy the special prosecutor, we must stand up against it, because he's now trying to build an institution. It's at the beginning stage. You understand? So, and when you are building an institution, it's difficult. So, if you don't build an institution to add to the anti-corruption fight, then you are destroying our democracy. So we must be against those who destroy institutions. Please, do you see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
That's the frustration I have. And when you go on socials, people take the conversation surface, but it's not a problem. We are not, we the people who have the privilege to be on air should accept the criticism, but should not descend into flippant, simplistic conversations. People can choose to discuss that because they don't have time. And they are busy doing their work. But when you find yourself on air, you cannot come and do surface things. No. You must be complex. You must go beyond simplistic things. Please, am I making sense? So Ghanaians, think deeply. Think deeply about what we can do to change society. In some countries, they even vote for their judges. In some churches, they vote for their pastors. It's not a sin. Presby Church, they vote. Godfred, aren't you a Presbyterian? Don't they vote for session? Oh, when leadership fails, we have to let people make their choice. Because if we trust the Sanhedrin to make a choice and they are choosing corrupt men, then we have to now vote for session. So why do you think the Presbyterian Church they vote? It's even part of the failure. So voting is actually not necessarily, when the leaders don't do what they are supposed to do, we will change them. And that change, now in America, they vote for their judges. They vote for pastors, vote for DC, vote for everybody. But we, the voters, should not vote because of money or tribe. We should vote because of, we want an honest person who is strong, because he will be tested with money. The minute you become a minister or something, people come and give you things. If you can't master it when you are on the 1,000 CD level, when they give you $1,000, you take it. So you train people from the beginning, take your trotro, be satisfied with what you have. We are not saying no, ask for more salary, but learn to sky, galley, learn to walk, take Trotsky, so you can live in. That's what leadership is. But we don't want that one comfort. We make our leaders something. So the concept of the leader is even wrong. So we will not overtake the Japanese if we don't change our mind. We will not. We cannot violate natural laws. And why are you overtaking? Why you Japan? With this system, you overtake Japan? In your dreams, you can't. If you don't change your behavior, you will be behind them forever. You will not over. It's not, God is not a respecter of persons. If you do the right thing, you'll be rewarded. We have chosen to do the wrong thing and to reward the wrong people and to highlight the wrong things. That's why we are not doing well. If society will not look at itself and change, it will take 1,000 years. The Japanese will still beat us. The Europeans will still colonize us, because we have not decided to wake up. We are still asleep. We have to make a decision that enough of this nonsense. We have to decide. But we haven't, because we are cowards and we haven't been trained to stand up for truth. That's the situation. We haven't trained up a child in the way he should go, so that when he's old, he will not depart from it. There's a way a person should go. When the person gets to a certain age, you cannot train him again. So a whole generation of leaders have been mistrained. So all of them have failed. All of them. They went to Legon, all these things, big English. They can't solve our problems because they were not properly trained. And you have to train the next generation to appreciate sacrifice, values, honesty, fearlessness, so they can save us. Because that old generation, they have nothing new to offer. Nothing. What are they going to do for you? What are they going to do for you? What would they do for you? They've already been molded in a certain way. What will they do for you? Let's think about Ghana. Oh. As for me, I won't be here forever. You can insult me. I'll go and look for someone. But we, the young people who have to, and it starts with who you vote for. It starts at the local level. It starts. Get interested. Don't pretend as if you are too smart for politics. No, you are not. Be interested. When they say they are doing parliamentary something, go. Sister, way of info. Also be MP. Start. Otherwise, let me leave it here. Yeah, I didn't sleep well, so maybe it's part of my.
But Bernard, the MPs being part of the exemption from the speed limit, dear, we have to do something about it. Already, while we're doing the war against indiscipline on the Sphincter stretch, a lot of the times MPs were one of those people who were abusing this thing, even when they were not part of this. The speed, the recklessness. One of them is now a minister, so he's exempted from this as per the regulation. But if you are going to add MPs to, and the reason why I am worried about this is that they're supposed to be representing us. If they don't feel how I feel, I don't know how they are going to represent me. They don't engage the people in town hall meetings. Last time I saw one was when the Volta River Authority spilled the water and the MP was engaging the people having town hall meetings to get the real sentiments of the people to advocate for them. I don't know how many MPs do town hall meetings. My member of parliament for where I live, I don't know the last time she called for town hall meeting to go and represent me. The only thing she can feel that is close to what I feel is when she drives on the road I drive. Even that, the feeling won't be the same because the quality of the vehicles we are driving are not the same. Exactly. So if you are going to exempt them from speed limits, this one, I don't see the justification. To be honest, because the roads are bad, there is so much traffic.
Think about the number of ministers, MPs in that enclave.
Yes.
And the chaos it will cause from Laboni, Cantonment, Ridge. And this is a very quiet bill.
Yes.
Because as somebody said to me, when everywhere is quiet, it means people's mouths are full.
Exactly. Everyone is going to benefit from
this
it.
thing, it was somebody who sent it to us. Otherwise, it wouldn't have even come out.
That's right. We need, look, we have taken the lid off it. The people of Ghana have, look, Kenya has shown us the way that MPs cannot misbehave anyhow and get away with it.
They've taken the strobe lights off their vehicles because if the youth see you in a town,
I mean, what kind of, look, things are so bad, you don't want to worsen it further. You have already contributed to the mess we see today, from the top right down to the bottom. And the most clever thing you can think about is to take a legislation to Parliament.
More privileges for
to
themselves.
Amend existing legislation so that you can enjoy greater comfort. So you can choose to sit wherever you are sitting. When, I mean, how often do...
I haven't even heard that now. They say they want to even do pension for MPs and things.
You see, there are some reforms that will be useful.
Okay.
But this idea of amending the road traffic laws as to create certain privilege exceptions is completely unacceptable.
But Sky, already when the police arrest a member of parliament, what happens to the MP?
No, let it be there. There will come a time there will be a police. Look, let me give you a typical example.
Yeah.
There will come a time that there will be a police officer
Yes.
on TJ.
Sure.
He arrests you as a member of parliament. He will take you through the processes.
Yeah.
Bernard, go to parliament, the precincts of parliament today. You weep. Weed all over the place. I visit other parliaments outside this country. You see what happens in those spaces. The quality of grass you even walk on.
No.
The banquet hall is in total shambles.
How much does it cost to even weed that?
To weed. This is where we are passing laws.
Seriously.
Sometimes you pass.
So the parliament is overgrown with weeds.
Oh, go to the banquet hall. That place is.
Oh,
The state house there, no?
Yeah, bazaar.
Why?
This cannot be allowed.
In our parliament.
Let the boys take camera there. I went through the place yesterday. Look, it was like.
Is it like they've given it somebody to repair and they don't have money, or what's the problem?
But how much money?
Recently, I noticed that where they go and even have tea was bazaar, the cabs,
I'll tell you something. I'll tell you something. When I was in Legon, and I always say this, the university always teaches us how to lead. Because see, when you go to Legon, from my primary school days, there's always people mowing the grass. Yeah. Always. They don't allow the grass to overgrow. Yeah. There are people who prune the trees. They don't cut the trees by heart. Why? Because the system of governance in the university is more accountable. So there's a VC, but there's a whole system of accountability. You can't say me, I am the VC, so I can do anything I want. So there are committees. Some of the people you are VC over, they are even your seniors. Some of them taught you, but they are still there under you. I think we have something to learn from the universities, the way they run the place. Because when you drive from Okpongolo and enter Legon, you think you are in two different
countries. Everything
is
different.
Single, you are from Okpongolo and enter Legon. It's like you are in two different countries.
Different nations.
Because the leadership in that space, and this is leadership over the years. So, you see, when I say it's a leadership issue, the contrast between that Legon space you see and the Medina Okpongolo around is the leadership around, because some spaces have been left leaderless. So people do anything they want. So the leaders' failure is what is crippling the country. And I'm saying, we are going to choose leaders. Fine. Some of the leaders may be bad. Look for somebody and vote for. If not, go on the ballot yourself. Do you get me? When you get to a point where you can't see any good person on the ballot, maybe the person voting should be on the ballot. Am I making sense?
Yes.
So for those of my friends who say they are not going to vote, I don't think that's the solution. I don't think saying I won't vote is the solution. So let's assume there are 4 people on the ballot and you don't like any of them. Then find somebody who you think should be on the ballot and put him there. Hello? Get me? Because at least you've seen 4 options now. If you feel like the 4 are not good enough, organize and put the right part. To say you won't vote is the beginning of your dereliction. You see, because what else won't you do? And once you say I won't do, there are so many people who are happy to do, and they'll do it on your behalf, and they'll chop it and leave you. So please, don't tell me you won't vote. Look for a right person to vote for, or find the right person, put him on the ballot. If you think the wrong person the right person is not there. That's on WhatsApp 054-998-6996. A few quick announcements coming in.
Yes. Now, hey there, did you know that cooking with firewood and charcoal is dangerous or harmful to your lungs as smoking? That's right, it can cause heart disease, stroke, and even affect your eyesight in the long run. That's why you need to use LPG. The National Petroleum Authority is here to change that with the new cylinder recirculation model, Gas Aba. Make that smart switch from firewood and charcoal to gas for a healthier, happier life. This ad is brought to you by the NPA and the Ministry of Energy. Now, Omni Basic Bank is always at your service. They are the fastest growing corporate bank and the bank of the year 2023. They are ready to assist you at all times. Call them on 030-275-8555 or visit any of their branches nationwide to open an account today and enjoy exceptional customer service. Omni Basic Bank at your service. You are home, you want to relax and sleep after a long day at work, but the mattress is sagging beneath you. You don't want that. Step into Latex Foam's showrooms and experience the difference for yourself. They've got high quality mattresses and furniture crafted with your ultimate relaxation in mind. Latex Foam is your partner for life. Call them on 0302231155 or visit them online latexfoamghana.com. Now, Twisco is here. It's a great chocolate drink from the producers of Cowbell, and it's made from premium cocoa powder enriched with N-Ford. You need to enjoy the goodness packed in a sachet, which sells for only 1 cedi 80 pesos, and it's a 20-gram sachet. Start your day with a cup of the great tasting Twisco and power your dream. This ad is FDA approved.
So let me put as our voting. We have a responsibility to vote for the right people. Yes. Let's look for men and women of integrity and courage to vote for. If you don't find any on the ballot, encourage one to go on the ballot. It's not too late. So if you are from, say, Ablekuma Central, and you don't like the options that are showing up, find somebody and support them with your money and your time. Do you see where the thing is?
Right now, that would
because
be independent.
we cannot change Ghana just by being disappointed. Being disappointed is not enough. So look for the right person, and I think Parliament is still very important. Parliament is skyward in Parliament for almost 20 years. Parliament, when it works well, is powerful.
True.
So we have a chance. We have a chance to choose the right MPs. Let's not fail the country. All right? Interrogate them. If you find that the people who are there are not correct, go and look for somebody and push your resources. Even if it loses, you understand? Try. Don't just give up. You see, because if even half of our MPs are good, we have a chance. If you have half of our MPs of men of courage, he said, I need, how many men do I need? 30 men to fight. Is that what this guy said? What's the guy who went to fight? I forget his name in the Bible.
Who?
The guy who went to fight and the people he chose them, some drank water by the water.
Gideon, yes.
He needed
got
300 men.
Yeah.
300 men. Can we find 300 people of, 275 people of integrity? Even one, what's the half of 370? 137. Who will say, as for us, we will stand for the truth. If you can find 137, that should be somebody's plan. That should be the plan. Train them, raise them, prepare them. Leaders, that's what we need. Who can stand up for the truth. Say, finance committee, this law, won't sign it. Even though I'm from the government MPP, I won't sign because it's a bad law. And I will not let the finance minister intimidate me. I won't let my constituency chairman force me. I won't sign. It goes against everything I've been trained for. That's when we start bringing change. Say, the fact that we are MPP and we are government doesn't mean that we should sign this bad. We won't do it. If the minister doesn't come in account, don't you think it will be good? So if you had 10 MPs in MPP, this thing won't sign. You can call us NDC, it doesn't matter. You think they won't listen? By the time they even sack them and do by elections, they've learned a lesson. You see, nobody wants to pay the price. If we even have 5 MPs who said, this tax thing, we will not, it's wrong, we won't do it. 5, add it to the NDC number, that's 140 something. Then we are making change. Then we say, we have to listen to the people. Because the MPs are standing up for what the people want.
Yeah.
Party whip everybody in line. They all go and vote on the party line. The party is not interested in bringing development to you. They're interested in keeping themselves in power. So there's no way they're going to do things that will be not your long-term benefit. And if you are not wise and you sell your soul to a party, your country will not go anywhere. I will not sell my soul to any party. No. Ghana is where I belong. I'm for Ghana. I'm not for any party. Forget it. CPP, how long did they rule? Where are they today? MPP, NDC, you won't last forever. So don't think that you are there and you no. So those of you who've thrown yourself into politics, let's get the right people to lead us. And let's force them to do the right thing. Including rebelling against their parties in parliament to stand up on principle. That's what we should do. When those people start rising, the party leadership will take note, the presidency will take note. So parliament doesn't become a rubber stamp of an executive that is corrupt. No. Parliament becomes the last bastion of hope for the people. So when parliament is gone, everything is gone. So it starts with primaries, it starts with candidates, it starts with choosing people and put your money in it. Don't say that, the parties, no, the parties, they put money where their mouth is. Who do you support? You say you've been an honest man, do you support him? Do you even put him on your poster? You are only posting yam and food and your new nails. That's all you are posting. You are not even posting anything around, anything, because you are not, no. If this guy is good, support him. Do you get my point? Yep. That's how you can't bring change any other way. Disappointment doesn't change anything. It's action that changes. So please, Ghanaians, we're happy to say you agree with us and all of those things, but honestly speaking, you need to get involved locally in the organization of the politics around your society. You need to get involved locally. All right? You need to get involved. To bring change to Ghana, you need to get involved. Don't be a passenger. Let's get involved. Even if you choose to do a post a day for the person you believe is honest, it's a post a day. Maybe it's an independent candidate that you think is the right person. A post a day, volunteer, wear his t-shirt. If you even get 3 voters for him every day, he will get some. You get it? It's like, that's how you start. That's how you start. Otherwise, these people, they will It's in the interest of politicians to have a legion of illiterates in this country because they can accept campaign t-shirts in mediocrity. I live in Ungwa along the beach drive. That has a small fishing community with dangerous potholes on parts of the road. Just last week, the Greater Accra minister was paying a visit, so hurriedly they brought some sand chippings.
Look at that.
And scrapped part of the road to make it more trouble. No bitumen laid. The moment the minister left, work stopped. And 5 days later, the machines were removed. Once again, the poll have been full. This is Mr. Black from Nungwa. Bernard, everything is leadership. I thought otherwise until I stepped out of Harvard. The bane of Ghana now is leadership. More comments coming in personally before I read the big ones from the main text box. Bernard, you've hit the nail on the head. Our culture is too tokenist, having made us all timid and beggars. The crime in society, or the criminals in society, know this fact and are capitalizing on it on both divides. The citizens are also culprits. We start in our schools, through our churches, into the civil and public service, then mainstream politics. Families could insult and despise you in society. We need to address our cultural tokenism as the way forward. As Kona from Ebenezer down in Dansoman. Let's read more comments.
Yes.
I think that's what will help. Let me just read one last one. Good morning, team. The points you raised on your show this morning are actionable. That needs to be recorded in schools, churches, and social gatherings. And thank you for saying it. The country is at a tipping point. We are battling for the soul of the nation. You talked about Japan, and we are told that it's always remembered for precision and highest rated attainment of their own culture, which are called civility. Unfortunately, we cannot constructively describe what Ghanaian civility is in a Japanese context. This is from Isaac. Here's an information on a banquet hall. This person works in Parliament. Says the banquet hall is no longer under the management of Parliament. It is managed by the office of the President.
Okay.
But that does not mean we should allow it to deteriorate. All right. But the person is pointing out that the banquet hall that you described is now under the office of the President.
Yeah, but you see, while that information is useful, and it's not like I don't know about this information,
Okay.
the whole place is almost weedy.
Yeah.
This is completely unacceptable.
Okay.
Look, this is where we, the people, deliberate. The MPs sitting there, they are there as we, the people of Ghana, we are the people sitting there. So if our collective space looks as horrifying as the space is presently,
Charlie.
I mean, what does that say of us? Every single day, we continue to receive guests from all over the country, all over the world, visiting Parliament to see how things happen there. When we travel to other institutions, we go to Canada, we go to the US, we go to Netherlands, we go to South Africa. Is that what we see?
That's a good question.
We need to do better.
And I think during the Senate DG's presser yesterday, I heard him complain about how we ran down state institutions to sell them. You know, I will not be surprised if they tell us that banquet or they are going. That one is the one. Okay. Because the way we run that place down is not nice.
It's completely unacceptable.
Okay, all right, let's go through some comments. Magnus in DC says, Bernard, you're right. Human beings need rules to guide them. If the laws are not working properly, then the country is in a mess. We must first blame leadership. If the head is corrupt, the body becomes corrupt. The law must work irrespective of who you are. This is what made Western countries, or this is what developed Western countries. Leadership is everything, but society's expectation is part of leadership. Keep up the education. This is exactly what we expect from the NCCE. Citizens are also part of the problem. People don't understand that our expectation is directly or indirectly influencing the success of the nation. This one says the issues being discussed need a collective voice, especially from our leaders, but they are all silent. There's a saying, the hottest places in hell are reserved for those who in times of moral crisis remain neutral. Nene from Greater Estates. Philip says a well-structured law and regulation can govern a race of demons. Our laws do not have enough punitive enforcement agencies. We don't need Ghanaians to act right. We need the laws to make them act right. if a demon lives in heaven, he will act heavenly. This one says, you just summarized Ghana's problem in a whole. I came to Ghana last April, and when my folks saw me driving Vitz, they went like, how can a bugger drive this car? Martin, UK.
But when they say that, that should not... So if they say that to you as a pastor or a bugger or a managing director, that's one thing. If you change your behavior because they've said that, it means you yourself, you two, are not strong. You get it? So it's not, you don't live your life based on what people say. So I get it that society has allowed that type of behavior, but we have to be strong. So drive your bits and be happy.
Francis Nakra says, what you're saying is true, but because of the benefits people will get from the rot and wrongdoing, they'll go all out to defend and keep such politicians in power, like what we are seeing with MPP government. Until we practice the traditional system of swearing to a deity before we go into public office. So Francis says we should do that.
So let me ask a question. So Ghana, what do we even fear now? See, because you know,
where people went to even steal.
Charlie, people went to police station to steal.
Yeah.
I think the only thing we fear is money. I think in Ghana, money is what we worship.
I
think so. Because even they swear they lie. So the only thing we respect is money. Maybe that's how I see it.
Okay.
Collectively.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know.
Because even our sense of shame is diminishing.
Your point is spot on, Bernard, but the canker of corruption these days and hardship people face, people will now look for money to vote rather than look for good characters, I see. Michael from Tema says, remember Sam Jonah has apologized to the youth for leadership failure. It sums up all that you've said. This one says, I agree with you, Sky. Our leadership lacks discipline in all aspects. Are they servants or bosses? And what makes them different from the ordinary Ghanaian? Simply obeying traffic rules. The constitution needs a serious amendment. Jane Egbert in New York. This one says, Bernard, they created the impression to start with, if they all stick to the way MPs should behave, they won't have these problems. What Bernard is saying is right. The problem is the people's mindset. A Ghanaian truck pusher doesn't understand why his MP is not sitting in a V8 or living large. Ghanaian minds have been corrupted so much that I don't even know what to tell them.
There's a testimony. Somebody has a testimony to support me. Bernard, what you are saying is true. He says there's one Mr. E, I know what you say, who was regional secretary for Central Region in the PNDC days. He came home driving a Mitsubishi Space Wagon, and people in the village started insulting and laughing at him. The whole minister who drive a car, but Sky, think about it.
The Prime Minister of Netherlands, right, goes to work back to his house on bicycle. When he left office recently, he went in and went out on bicycle.
Gaso?
Yes, Gaso. Buzanga Vuvu. The society doesn't hold him in serious disregard because he sat on a bicycle. Because when it comes down to it, life is so simple.
Sky, what are we doing wrong? Are we, as media, portraying the wrong concept of success?
It would seem so.
You know, I always like to start with advice.
Yes,
So
yes.
Are we? But okay. Let me. People admire what we do, but we are not wealthy people. So why? Like, why aren't more people? Why are more people encouraging the youth to be modest, to be frugal and honest? Why are they?
Because all the churches are even preaching prosperity.
So they've converted the gospel to.
It's because
you can make it.
Yes, we are
and that making it means you won't suffer.
Yes.
You won't struggle.
Yes.
When you go to the embassy, they will give you the visas.
And then you get your car.
Yes.
The thing will be a bit far.
Who do we?
It's on God.
Think about it. Who do we give prominence to? Right? When we interview in Ghana, when we interview people and we say they are successful, 9 times out of 10 it's because they are wealthy. We never ever.
But Nathan, it's true. Okay,
yes,
go on.
I'm saying, look, Bernard, look at the things that
we celebrate
cause a lot of ruckus on social. Right? Take away the sports or some very wild political thing, look at the things we celebrate on social. Somebody's bought an iPhone 15. Somebody's bought a car age 23. Recently, the latest one, they said the youngest rich man in Ghana, some guy, I've forgotten his name, and he's trending crazy.
What work does he do?
I don't know. He's trending crazy. The hottest people on social, if you take away the musicians, actors, blah blah blah, they are the people sharing betting tips.
Invest.
So the point is that the kind of things we focus on, and as media, we are very culpable.
But
because we give the we take the microphone and cameras to go and interview these people.
How do values develop in a society? Is it the house? Is it the school? Is it
a
the
mix
church?
of
Is it the
everything?
media?
But
if you
now,
look at, so take an average SHS 3 graduate. The person is already globalized because they have a phone.
Very good.
And social media tells them who they should follow. Of course, we can reinforce or we can disabuse. All right. So, but there are still things that can help: school, home, church. Do you get it? Those are 3 key things. And because now media is not just radio and TV now, it's social too. Right. So this 18-year-old is being socialized by social media. Most of them don't even necessarily listen to the heart of politics. But he has a house. He has a church he goes to. He's in JY. Then he also goes to school. Right? So how did he become what he's become?
See, it is because of
which is the most important? Which of the 4 is the most important in making him think that success is if I can drive a Bentley by 23?
The media, and by extension social. Why? Because the 3 others are in theory supposed to shape his conduct. So the home, so his parents are supposed to tell him stealing is wrong, lying is wrong, being content and working hard is right. But his parents are also so engrossed with life's basic matters, they are absent. Now in his school, his teachers are so overwhelmed, they can't even straighten him out, because now you can't beat children, you can't punish, you can't do anything to them. So 2 of the pillars are already gone. Then what does he have? He has a cell phone.
But who gives him the cell phone?
Well, the cell phone probably bought for him by his parent because of communication. I need to speak to you, I'm not home, blah 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 blah. So the cell phone now becomes his socialization. He sees all kinds of things there. He's watching all kinds of things there. Those things are shaping his thinking. And he's a teenager. By the time he's 20, he's almost firm.
But let's flip the question. The adult who left him this crazy society didn't have mobile phone. But the adult is still corrupt. Because that adult is now maybe a pastor of a church. And maybe somebody's washing money from him. And he's taking it easily. So let's drill deeper. It's the values.
Of course.
Because
I agree. I'm
so
only
adults who
explaining what's happening
I love your points. I'm trying to add to it to say, to corrupt a person, for society to value wealth which is not accounted for, and to not put frugality and hard work at the forefront of national discourse and sacrifice and patriotism, I think it's family and maybe church. Because the people who left us this decrepit society, they had only GBC and they had only Obra and also Fodazi, right? They didn't have mobile social media. It's easy to say the past was better than the future, so things were good. But I'm saying the class of leaders they produced didn't really do anything. Fine, they did their best, but I always give this example. When my father was in the university, he was in the Kwafo Hall. There were only 2 in his room. When he got to my turn, I was in the Legon Hall. We were 8 in that room.
Same size.
Yeah, same room. They gave him breakfast and lunch. He was wearing suit and things. The dining hall he was eating at me. I was learning there. I went to eat at Commonwealth Hall under some tree. That's how I was eating. He was eating food they served for him. So his generation failed my generation. Fine, he took me to school. He's done his best. He took me to university. But that generation of leaders didn't bequeath to us. Do you get it? And now my mates who are now leading, they decided to learn the bad habits of the people who left, and the good ones, they left it aside. You get it? So I feel we should drill down a bit to family values, community values, social values. So media comes in, church comes in, but the home is also there. The home is also there because the home is the principal place for nurturing. Why do you think when you are going to get married, your family will go and do an investigation of the family you are going to marry from. You think they are fools? It's not just tribalism. Say, you want to get married? Do you know those people? Where are they from? What do they value? Do you get it? So it's also family breakdown. Teenage pregnancy. We should encourage it. We should be balanced because you see, homes, you need parents to guide their home. So you have kids having kids. 14-year-old has a child. 29-year-old, when I was doing my work, I told you when I went,
you said you went
to a village
with your dad.
to do enumeration.
Yes.
I met a lady who was not 30, she was a grandmother. Yeah, because her daughter was 14, he also had a daughter. Now, and we don't know where the man is. The man who so now if this boy who's born also decides to become, do you get it? So all of that too, and that doesn't mean that the person who went to GIS, whose mother and father are with him, is even better, because he also becomes a bank manager. He's also stealing. You get it? So I'm not even blaming the poor. We the rich guy who went to SOS and went to Harvard. He comes to be a bank manager and he's giving loans and he's doing deals with his friends to also steal. So the society collectively, so you see, what runs through all of it is not the poverty of the rich, so it's values. The values of society. Whether he went to SOS and by that extension went to Harvard, when he comes back to Ghana and give him that work, he's still doing crony capitalism. And the one who is poor too, he's going to steal. So all of us, the thing that runs through is not poverty, it's values. It's a poverty of values. And who's failing? The family is derelicting, the media is derelicting, the church is derelicting, the school is derelicting. Right? And we are giving everybody the rights to do what they want. So schools can't. I was afraid of my senior house master. And fear is not a bad thing. It's like, oh, kids must be confident. No, I was afraid of Mr. Kote because he would lash you. He won't take nonsense. So it made me have a certain sense of correctness. Now we say we are in the global world SDG, so now children should be talked to. So let's talk to them. So they do what they want, and we say we are happy because we are in a state of development where we have to decide our own destiny. We don't have proper roads. And we are trying to use what somebody, you can understand, instead of using the person's institutions to develop, you are using, it's like, I'm not saying Western people are bad. They have created accountability in their politics. You won't choose that one. But you are choosing the things that they want to know. The frills that they have, that is a luxury, you know. You are importing that and your roads are still bad.
Imagine.
Your school feeding program, when they pour the soup on the rice, the soup disappears. Is that the kind of environment to be implementing the kind of things that they implement in Switzerland? Don't you think you should give them proper food to eat first before you think about the next one? You see my point? So we copy the wrong thing. So the values, and values can be in competition, but even as a person, I have to question my values sometimes. Do you get it? A society cannot advance if it's not built on values, Sky. Everything you see visibly is built on what is invisible. You know this. Traditional, we believe this, right? So, the man I see, the body I see is not the person. There's something beyond. Sky's mind is what I'm accessing. So, what makes Sky is not the body, because if he dies, he'll still sit in this chair, but he will not make any sense. So, what makes Japan is not the roads and the buildings. It's what you don't see when you go there. So, as Sky sits here, I can't see his mind. I can only get it through his actions. It's the same thing. So in Ghana, it's not the Kwashi and the monument. So the collective mind of the people is the values, the mindset is not. It doesn't value honesty. It doesn't value truth. The Bible says, buy the truth. It means that truth is expensive. It will cost you. It can even cost you your life. It will cost you your time. It will cost you. We don't like the truth. We are. Can you handle the truth? We like comfort. So we like laughter. We like humor. Every day, social media trends. What's trending? Football, those things. It's too difficult. Even media. These kind of conversations are considered outlier conversations. Like, why are you even discussing this? Just do the LPM, do the interviews. You know, your BP will go high, sleep and things. You get it? So you can do the same thing. Bring people come and talk. But you see, if you want change, you have to. Because until society is engaging complex issues and discussing them with rigor
and robustness,
thinking so for example, how do we make sure that in 30 years Ghana will still not be a slave to the IMF? It takes more than a radio program. The next generation of economic leaders have to be trained. So Legon, what's the curriculum for economics? Ashesi, Tech, do you get my point? What can you inculcate in the training of the economist of the next 10 years so he will not come and borrow 10 billion? Somebody needs to plan it, because in another country somebody is planning it. Somebody is engineering the kind of leader who will take over in 30 years. What are we doing? Go to campus politics. We are sending our thing there to pollute them. So the guys coming to take over in the next 20 years are 10 times worse than the guys they took over from. How are you going to change? So we have not 3 values, and I end. Truth, integrity. It's difficult, it's tough, but you have to go for it. Courage. Because we can all have an easy life. I don't have to be here today doing what I'm doing. We can all decide to be quiet and go and sleep. Because one of the things they tell Ghanaians, which I don't like, this school you are coming to go, remember your father, remember your mother. You're from a poor family. When you go, just do what you have to do.
Stay out of trouble.
That's true. Stay out of trouble. But be bold, be honest, be courageous. Don't be afraid. Don't be intimidated. Do you get it? We need to balance that. So we need men and women of courage. Number 3, sacrifice. Because for the next generation to be better, somebody must pay the price. So honesty, courage, sacrifice. Sacrifice means that you have to go hungry sometimes. Don't our mothers go hungry to pay our school fees? Your mother did that. Sold fish to make sure you go to school. So why can't we learn the same? Fathers who forfeit all kinds of travel just to save money to educate their kids. Then you, the child who's educated, you use the education to become corrupt, to disgrace your father's name. So sacrifice. We must learn that. Sacrifice. Kwame Nkrumah sacrificed. Read about his. Go and read Kwame Nkrumah, the autobiography, Ghana, the autobiography. You will weep in many instances. Sitting in a train from one part of London to the other because he can't sleep. He doesn't have a place to sleep, so he sleeps on the train. When the train gets to the end of the place, he gets up, goes to the next train, sleep. That's how he lived for years in London. To do that speech that you are so happy about. He didn't do it. You get me? He went through. He went through things too. And there's no leader who has done half of what he's done. Anyway, he indicts all of us. So what system is training our leaders? What matrix are they coming out of? What price are they paying to become MP? Come on air, speak English, insult the opponent, find a way of getting money quickly to win election, and you think they can compete with the world? No, you can't.
Bernard, the values you have spoken about, something just told me, let me dig up our national anthem, right? Mm-hmm. Just the first stanza. God bless our homeland, Ghana. So it is not NDC MPP that we are blessing, right?
Prayer for Ghana.
Yeah. And make our nation great and strong, bold to defend forever. So boldness, courage, you mentioned those values, right? The cause of freedom and of right. Now, in defense of the cause of freedom and of right, there are sacrifices that you will make. We sing these things every day. We don't really know the import. Fill our hearts with true humility. Mm-hmm. So every time, our hearts must be full of what? True humility. Make us cherish fearless honesty. You spoke about honesty. Here it's been qualified. Fearless. So yes, so you are courageous in defending the truth. Fearless honesty, even at the point where someone is taking your head off. You are standing by the truth. And help us to resist the oppressor's rule. There will come a time where those in power will become a major impediment to societal growth. They will suppress that which is in the collective interest of all of us. Your duty is to resist that fearlessly with all our will and might forevermore. So if you look at just the first stanza, Bernard, the issue of honesty, the issue of courage,
the issue of truth that you spoke about appears to have been taken care of here. The question is, when we sing it in schools and when we stand up at national events and we put our hands on our chest, right hand on the left side of our chest, and we are saying and singing these things, do we actually believe in them? It's a question you ask yourself. We have come this morning and we have done our part. There are times we get it wrong. There are times we get it right. In your little space, how much are you doing? How much effort are you making? If it is bad, it is bad. Let's fix it. Because look, there will come a time, it will be too late for you to fix the problems that you are allowing to perpetuate itself. We sit on radio today, what we have is a microphone. Tomorrow when we are no longer, on radio, look, what actually hurts me, I don't want to sit at home when I'm 70, 80.
I wish we discussed this.
Yes, then I'm sending Bernard's, great grandson.
No, he will not be.
Whoever it is, down the road to my village or the road to Kumasi. People have moved on from these kinds of discussions. They are discussing whether their dog has gotten proper manicure or not. Because they have reached the stage of self-actualization.
That's true.
They are thinking of how can we live in space. That's what they are thinking about.
Making space habitable.
That's what they are thinking. Those are the conversations they are having. Here we are.
We're talking about
The very basic
street lights,
plastic,
gunter,
women still sleeping on the floor in hospitals.
Fire.
And we preside over that. It's a shame.